I hope you are ready for this breaking nuclear news. Let's start with price action. First up, Sprott Uranium Miners ETF up 14.83% on the week. The S&P 500 was down 2.81%. This is significant, massive outperformance because the market has finally woken up to what we've been talking about for weeks. That is the beauty and the purpose of this channel, to dive into the underlying fundamentals before the market even realizes they exist. For instance, why Cameco and other uranium stocks exploded this week from the Motley Fool. Just when investors were starting to feel nervous about the prospects for uranium miners, you don't have to admit you were one of those investors, a hugely unexpected development in the nuclear energy industry sent uranium stocks shooting for the moon if things turn out as expected. The golden era for uranium stocks could be just around the corner. So just to give you some background, the nuclear disaster at Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in March 11 pretty much closed the door on the uranium industry. Nuclear reactors run on uranium fuel, and with Japan shutting down all of its nuclear reactors in the aftermath of that disaster, and several nations following suit, demand for uranium plummeted. This is what we are emerging from right now. With uranium prices sinking lower and lower and showing no signs of bottoming, the world's largest uranium producers, Cameco and Kazakhstan's Kazatomprom, stepped in to slash production over the past few years to squeeze supply and support prices. However, this is important. Last week, Kazatomprom announced plans to increase production in 2024, again, 2 years out, by almost 10%, or 2,000 to 3,000 metric tons, more than previously planned. Again, that's a far way away when you're in the midst of a current supply crunch. Although Kazatomprom's move to increase production after years of production cuts confirms a long-due sustainable recovery in the uranium market, investors feared higher supply from the world's largest uranium producer will hit uranium prices. Uranium stocks, as a result, came under a bit of selling pressure. Now, what happened this week? Things turned around dramatically this week after the nation responsible for sounding the death knell in nuclear energy and uranium in 2011 revealed a marked shift in its energy policy and announced plans to revive nuclear to secure its future energy needs. On August 24th, Japan's prime minister said the nation will not only extend the life of the 10 nuclear reactors currently in operation, but also restart up to 17 idled nuclear power plants. It's a huge deal because the resurgence of nuclear energy in Japan could compel other nations to reconsider their stance as well. Already, more nations are drawing up plans to replace fossil fuels with clean energy after Russia's invasion of Ukraine sent global prices of oil and gas skyrocketing. Egypt, for example, is building its first nuclear plant, and Bloomberg this week reported India to be planning a mega nuclear reactor as it strives to reduce reliance on coal for its power needs. The revival of nuclear power in Japan was old news for people that were following along on this channel. And so the market just decided to get all excited over this one news story, which is great because most early stage investors are able to get in early before the market realizes what happened. And so now what? Companies like Cameco and Kazatomprom stand to benefit the most from any rise in demand for uranium and increase in its price. As they're the largest and most experienced players in the industry, they can ramp up production as required. Investors are paying close attention to upcoming players like Uranium Energy, which beat Denison Mines in the race to acquire Canada-based miner UEX this week. Uranium Energy now has the largest uranium asset base in North America, including in the Athabasca Basin, which is known for its rich, high-grade uranium deposits. Uranium Energy is yet to generate its first revenue, but the UEX acquisition is a significant growth move and couldn't have come at a better time. Now, why could it not have come at a better time? It's because the Inflation Reduction Act will spawn nuclear energy's growth. This is the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act. This is crucially significant and important. The Inflation Reduction Act puts nuclear on the same playing field as renewables, said Doug True, the chief nuclear officer at the Nuclear Energy Institute. It will stimulate more interest in nuclear, adding 300 reactors that generate 90 gigawatts over 30 years might be on the low end once this plays out. Everyone is trying to scramble into taking advantage of the green energy revolution, and nuclear is on the same playing field as renewables like solar and wind. Doesn't get bigger than this. It truly doesn't. This is last week we called the wall of money coming into the space. Well, if governments around the world are supporting the green energy revolution and nuclear is on the equal playing field with the rest, and it's obviously a far superior energy source than the rest, then what is going to be the outcome? It's going to be a flood of incoming capital. And so maybe the market picked up on that as well. But it seemed the market was very excited about the global energy crisis spurring a revival of nuclear power in Asia. This comes from Bloomberg. Nations are embracing nuclear as Russia's invasion of Ukraine sends gas and coal prices shooting to records, accelerating a shift toward cleaner and more reliable energy. So we talked about Japan, but a similar shift is taking place in South Korea. Voters this year elected a pro-nuclear president who wants atomic energy to account for 30% of total energy generation, reversing the previous government's plan to ditch reactors. He also vowed to make the nation a major exporter of nuclear equipment and technology and integrate atomic power and renewable energy to push for carbon neutrality. China is in the midst of a massive nuclear build-out. Enormous energy demand is underpinning China's nuclear push. This shows by country the total reactors under construction versus planned. This is a long-term, big, bullish story that's going to play out over the next few years. So you can see big growth in India, big future growth in Russia, big future growth in China. UK, USA planning to almost double what we currently use. And we're in a supply crunch. So this is the bullish thesis for uranium. In order to fund that future demand, we better get it out of the ground, and it's going to require much higher prices. Even cash-strapped nations across Southeast Asia are looking at nuclear power. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. told Congress last month that he will explore nuclear power plants to bring down power costs and boost energy sufficiency, while the island state of Singapore said earlier this year that next-generation nuclear or geothermal technology could make up 10% of its energy mix by 2050. While the details are hazy, that's a shift from a decade ago when the country concluded that conventional reactors weren't suitable. And so we have this U-turn going on, which is truly revolutionary. And then you have Elon Musk, one of the most influential, smartest, visionary entrepreneurs in the entire world. Elon Musk, countries should be increasing nuclear power generation. It is insane from a national security standpoint and bad for the environment to shut them down. This is Mr. Solar, Mr. Green Energy, Mr. Electric Vehicles. He understands exactly how important it is. And he's right a lot on things. He believes in AI, he believes in electric vehicles, he believes in solar, but he really believes in nuclear, and this proves it. So very bullish and exciting if you're an investor in this revolutionary space. So we mentioned what is going on in the US and the Renaissance unfolding before our very eyes in the nuclear space. We have this from John Quakes. Consider huge implications of the Inflation Reduction Act on U.S. nuclear fuel buyers. Uncertainty around future U.S. reactor closures has delayed contracting for more uranium, but now they've got $36 billion of support to keep reactors running. Fuel buyers now have signal needed to ramp up contracting. So green light, let's go. The world, and especially the USA, will run on uranium. I found this article which did a bit of a deep dive into Energy Fuels, which is a US company with a market cap of $1.15 billion. Energy Fuels is a uranium mining company. The US-based company supplies U3O8 to major nuclear utilities. It also manufactures vanadium from some of its projects. Energy Fuels is also increasing the full commercial scale manufacturing capacity of RE carbonate. In the recently reported earnings results, the company said supply and demand fundamentals in the underlying market indicate that prices will remain high in the future. Notably, shares of the company rose 20.5% in yesterday's trading session on the news of Japan's change of nuclear energy policy. Again, very surprising. The market is just picking up on it now, but that just goes to show that price action means nothing. Fundamentals mean everything. There just might be a lag. Turning to Wall Street, the street is highly confident about UU stock, which enjoys a strong buy consensus rating based on 5 buys. Energy Fuels' average price target of $10.28 signals the stock may surge nearly 40.8% from current levels. This is absolutely massive given the macroeconomic backdrop we are in, how terrible it is. The Federal Reserve just came out and said they are literally going to raise interest rates and crash the economy in order to fight inflation. And given all that, the bullish fundamentals of this market are finally emerging and the market finally gets it. And uranium stocks pumped and massively outperformed every single other industry, it seems. Now, I love ending on the revolutionary nature of this technology. Where are we going? What is the future for this truly crucial, truly dense, important fuel source? This comes from NuScale Power, which is a small modular reactor company, which you can invest in. SMR is the ticker. Over 300 million people globally rely on desalinated water. One NuScale Power module can produce 77 million gallons of drinking water per day, and a 4-module Voyager SMR power plant could provide all of the water for a city the size of Cape Town, South Africa. The future is very bright. The future will run on nuclear. We are in the early stages of the nuclear renaissance, and it couldn't get more exciting. We will stay on top of this market.